Zolak and Bertrand on this Tuesday, June 2nd. It did not take until June 2nd. It was done shortly after 4 p.m. on June 1st. The deal has apparently been done for some time for it to be done so shortly after that 4 p.m. window began for the Philadelphia Eagles to better spread out the money on their salary cap moving forward. A.J. Brown to New England. He will be here moving forward. He's here in New England already, in the building, getting looked at. I'm sure the Patriots will take a good long look at that knee before all of this becomes finalized. That would be my guess.
Oh, it's good to have him in. And it's good to have somebody excited like Mike Reese about it. That's my guy, Mike, right there. And we've talked a lot about it. We've talked a lot about it on this show.
Raise the roof.
What a bunch of crap last week. Oh, this could go until the middle of July, maybe carry into August. I said, please don't let that happen. Please don't let that happen. And you heard that this was agreed to, I think, months ago. I really do think it was months ago. And all signs pointed toward it. I'm glad it's done. I would have given him what they gave up for him. I don't think it's an overpay. This is something that this team has not done around here. People talk about Randy Moss. Randy Moss was traded for a fourth-round pick. I think it was a 4 and a 5. And that was on draft day. Now, he isn't Randy's talent. Randy was a phenom, a different type of cat. But we're not used to this type of thing that happens, where you give up the type of collateral they went to get with a premier player. They did it for Brandon Cooks, but I didn't view Brandon Cooks as a guy that was worth a one. I really didn't. Smaller guy, sort of an outside guy, doesn't go over the middle. This guy sort of is that alpha type guy. I'm glad they got him. I felt that they needed him. I knew that the room was not complete. And, wow, they're putting some pieces around their quarterback, Drake May, that they believe in. And this is a good win yesterday for Mike Vrabel. This is Mike Vrabel's guy. Now the chips are starting to fall here. And we're going to be able to sit here and look at it and say, as they built this thing from when they lost that Super Bowl and who they've added, on paper, they are a much better team than they were a year ago. Without a doubt, unequivocally, without a doubt. I'm fired up that this guy's here. About time. About damn time. What?
No, you just throw a lot out there, so I'm trying to process everything you said there. I'm going point by point in my mind. Let's start with this. The compensation, which is a first-round pick for the Patriots to give up along with a fifth-round pick. The first-rounder is in 2028. The fifth-rounder is coming up in next year's draft in 2027. You say it is not an overpay. I would disagree with that. It is an overpay. This is not fair market value. This is not a deal that you look at and say, "Oh, this is a good deal," or I should say, it probably is fair market value in that there was another team back in March that offered a first-round pick. But is it a good value? And the answer would be no, not at all. Not at all. And in a vacuum, it would be an overpay for the player. I also think that it's worth it. Those two things can be true. You can say that is a large sum. That is a big haul.
It's a risk
to give up, considering it's not all that different from what A.J. Brown was traded for 4 calendar years ago.
A 1 and a 3.
I mean, a 1 and a 3 versus a 1 and a 5. That's not.
Well, Howie Roseman gets four good years out of him, where it's over 1,000 yards a season, and they move on from a guy that they picked that was sort of a bust.
I mean, I thought the Patriots acquiring Brandon Cooks for a first, using him for a year, and then flipping him for a first was a great thing for them. To do it 4 years after you trade for the player, when you trade for a player in April of 22, when he's 25 years old, and you trade him away 4 years later, going into his year 29 season, and the only thing you gave up was a third and a fifth swap to get him. That's it. So that ends up being the price that the Philadelphia Eagles trade, what they paid for A.J. Brown in the end. The net price was a third and fifth round pick swap.
Yep.
That's what they paid.
And the market has changed, though. Like, he's the guy that was available, and you knew the player. Like, they tried to get Chris Godwin. They offered him a ton of money. He didn't want to come here. What are you going to do? Well, they tried to get Brandon Ayuk. Didn't want to come here.
I would just tell you there's no way they're paying this price if they did not have a relationship between their head coach and this player.
I agree with that.
If this is, if Gerard Mayo is the coach of the team, or name any other coach you want is the coach of this team, they're not giving up this compensation for A.J. Brown. They're not doing that. But again, I have no issue with them giving it up because they have failed so miserably time and time again to develop a wide receiver that, well, this is the price you then have to pay. This is your punishment. This is what you've got to do. You've left yourself with no choice because you can't do the job. You have failed miserably at finding receivers.
That's the price you pay.
You suck at it. Elliott Wolf sucks at it. So that's what it is. I'm sorry. Like you can't live in a vacuum. You can't build a team in a vacuum. You've got to understand where your shortcomings have been. And if you're going to fix it, you've got to pay a price. And this is the price they've got to pay.
Yep. That's where you're at. And we knew that. We said this a year ago when Mike Vrabel took the job. Like, you're going to have to overpay for free agents. You're going to have to overpay for Spillane. You're going to have to overpay for Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis is making $20 million a year plus. He doesn't even show up in the off seasons, but he plays. That's the game you're playing right now because you drafted so poorly.
I also think that this deal getting done, as you said months ago, which I think that's probably true, if that's the case, they got beat on this because the Rams had offered a first-round pick. Because it's not really clear who else was in on A.J. Brown.
There was no other rumors other than the Rams.
And the Rams were out. The Rams have been out since March.
Howie could have kept him. Hey, he's a productive player.
No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. It was an untenable situation there, and you know it. And you know that this player was not going to go back there and play and be a good teammate and a good player to his quarterback or to his head coach. And some of that I'll excuse away. I think his head coach in Philadelphia is a bozo. And so I think that definitely contributes to a culture where players do get disengaged, even if they are getting targets and being fed the ball. Mm-hmm. I think the quarterback there is a pain in the ass too. So I don't think they've got the coach and quarterback culture thing figured out there. So it's hard for me to put it all in the wideout.
Right.
This is about his talent. That's what it's about for me. They got a talented player who probably doesn't have 4 good years left. He's probably got 2 good years left. But the Patriots need him. They need him, and they're going for it by making a trade like this, and they're taking a big swing, and they're taking on what I would call a massive amount of risk in this player. This is not a slam dunk. This is not a sure bet. It's a huge, huge risk. But I appreciate the hell out of them for taking the big risk.
What makes it risky for you? Just the knee?
The knee, the age, and the money. I mean, that's a lot of, you're given a lot to make this happen for a guy who also you don't know is going to be, I know that we all assume like, oh, it's Mike Vrabel and he's played for the guy, right? He's played, he's played for Mike Vrabel and Mike Vrabel loves him and he loves Mike Vrabel and he's coming to a team that he's rooted for his whole life and he loves the Pats and, oh, he's going to be the best version of himself. Well, I mean, I don't know that that's going to be the case. I would like to think that that's going to be the case. But this is not the most stable of players, okay? It just isn't. So,
well, welcome to the life of wide receivers, though.
Bingo.
Yep.
And well, that I'm just laying it out. I'm just laying it out. I'm telling you why. You say, why is it risky?
We said this a year ago.
Here's why it's risky. The age, the knee, the attitude, all of it makes it really risky. But I really appreciate that the Patriots say, well, we're not just going to go into the year without him, though. We'd rather give up a first-rounder and pay a huge price and pay a huge contract because, well, you can't hit the shot you don't take. And so to me, I love that. And I love that they have that attitude about them because it's something that I feel under the, Bill Belichick reign here. Oftentimes, they would stop themselves short because it wasn't a good deal or because it was too much money. And you look back and say, man, they had 6 titles and they were pretty cautious with personnel moves. And it always had to be on their terms. And it always had to be on what they were willing to give up. They never really wanted to truly extend themselves and make themselves uncomfortable and take on a level of risk that they would find too dangerous. Well, I'll tell you what, the Pats are now living dangerously, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
That's a good thing.
This tells you that they aren't staying the course. And we were sort of reminded of this as this is a fairy book type story going to the Super Bowl. And they really shouldn't be here, that they're really still in a rebuild. And they're going to just have to continue to add. You got to give credit up top. Because this trade doesn't happen unless that gets cleared or was given the blessing from upstart talking about ownership. So whatever happened in that meeting with Mike Vrabel and the ownership group, after the season, then what did we do that failed? How do we get back to winning this damn thing? We need to win this game. And Mike said we need talent on offense, or we need perimeter player. We're not explosive enough. We don't have enough guys with speed. They went out and paid Dobbs. Then you go out and you pay this guy and trade for this guy and get big collateral up for it. Like you said, it is a risky move, but it's ballsy because they feel that their window is now, that they can win now. Schedule's tougher. The pressure's on now. The off-the-field situation. Like, now you're heading to getting the guys that you need. Now you got to go out, you got to play, and you got to win. You got to win. He's got to be productive.
So you say it's a win for Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
I'd like to know more on why it is a win for Mike Vrabel. We can get into that coming up next as we talk about A.J. Brown to the Patriots. All day we'll be touching on this topic, so don't go anywhere.
So,
why do you think people listen to
Beetle?
He's got a big
Zolak and Bertrand, Sports Hub.
A.J. Brown to the Patriots. It was not all that shocking when it went down because we've been talking about it for months, if not years. The possibility of A.J. Brown to the Patriots, the possibility of big-name receivers to the Patriots. This long journey has finally come to a conclusion. He is coming to the Pats. So you say it's a win for Mike Vrabel.
Yeah,
why?
I just think it's a win for him. Just based on, the way the year ended, what he brought back to this football team, and then what he went through this offseason, which everybody I think knows what it is. And there was talk of, this could knock him down a peg. This could take not potentially some of the responsibility away from him or the power away from him. But, boy, what if he doesn't coach? What if he's not there in week one? Should the team act against him? No, they backed him, and they said, you want this guy? They cleared him. You go get him. This is a Mike Vrabel move. The drafting of the lineman in the first round didn't feel like, okay, that's a Mike Vrabel type pick there. Maybe that was more of, the whole room that scouted, the collegiate draft at that time, and that the value of tackle right there, we're going to do that. Like, I remember Mike talking since the beginning of the combine, like, we need edge guys. We need a big-time edge guy. We need pass rushers. I thought they would have went pass rusher in the first round. I did. I thought they would have went defense. I was kind of shocked they took another tackle there. But then, you get this type of move. This has got Vrabel's name written all over it. This means this is his football team. We knew it was his football team. I think this reassures everybody that Mike's there. Mike's in control. It's about football now. And this is where we're going to start watching him and see how much he puts into the season. And just his ability to get there each and every day as he has been, the energy. You saw him at the softball game the other day, smiling, hanging out with the guys. He's got to get back to being himself. And his first couple press conferences after what happened, and I don't blame him. It looks like he was a little down there, a little sheepish. But that last press conference went back and forth with you already a little bit. Like, that's the old Vrabel right there. And that just felt like he's in much more command. And, hey, man, this is a big move. It really is. This is big for this team. They don't do this usually. Like, you talk about making moves like with Brandon Cooks, and when the team drafted poorly and you got to the end, you sort of get a little desperate. You gave Antonio Brown $11 million for one game. Like, you went out and got that guy because you knew you needed something like that. You traded a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu because you couldn't draft. So this is what you do. Like, when you can't draft and develop guys, I give them credit for going out and get a good talent like that because you gave up collateral to go do it.
Yeah,
I'm not used to it. That's all.
It's a win, I think, internally in that Mike Vrabel's got the power.
He's got stroke
to do this.
And clearance. I mean, it's clearance. You got to communicate with ownership. Like, hey, we need to do this.
Oh, ownership definitely signed off on this. Taking
yes,
getting a receiver that makes this kind of money.
Yes,
they're bringing him in. Yeah, no.
Tell me what kind of check I'm writing again.
There's no doubt about it.
What kind of
but
money do
you're
we
right. I mean, it does show that he's got the power to convince ownership to do this and convince the people that he works with to do this move. Because when Elliott Wolf was, sort of left to his own devices on trying to trade for a wide receiver, he wasn't offering a first for Brandon Ayuk. He had offered a second. And yes, was offering the lucrative big-time contract extension.
Yeah, and Kendrick Bourne, too. Yeah.
He wasn't offering up a first-round pick. Wasn't doing that. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, minimal trade value. I think he, wouldn't even factor that in. It's about
but like right now, would you rather have Kendrick Bourne or would you rather have the fifth-round pick? I'd rather have Kendrick Bourne. Like, if you're making a trade. That's what I'm just saying in general. Because you have no clue who the hell's going to be there in the fifth round of substantial talent that you could count on. You could at least count on Kendrick Bourne to go out there and function in an NFL game. I'm just saying as a fourth or fifth receiver. I'm not saying as your one or two.
All right. Well, I mean, it's just saying he was not offering a first-round pick for Brandon Ayuk in that deal. So I don't think he would be excited to give up. I don't think he's excited to give up a first for A.J. Brown as a general manager. I don't think most GMs would feel that way. Feel like they're getting great value on giving up a first-rounder for a 29-year-old receiver who also still makes big money. No, this is a Vrabel move. There's no doubt about it. But to declare it a win, it might be a win in terms of he's still got the power to do things like this. Yeah. But if A.J. Brown doesn't work out, it's going to blow up in his face. All the blame will come his way, too.
Byard, too. Hey, he brought in Byard. You bring in the edge guy Jones from Baltimore. You're paying him, $36 million? Like, they invested in 3 big free agents here in the offseason. And they're his guys. Those are guys he knows. So you're saying, hey, I'm going back to bat here for my guys. But you guys come here, help me win, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, you are right. If they don't work out, then it does fall on him. That's the fact.
But what's the alternative? You roll into year 3 with Drake May without a number 1 receiver for your quarterback that was an MVP candidate last year, coming off of a Super Bowl, and you're going to roll out what offense if you don't bring this guy in? Like, I know we're talking about
Dobbs is a 1.
Hey, you know what? Look at the job Howie Roseman did with the first round. I really don't care how the Eagles made out in this. I just look at it from a Patriots perspective and what you're now bringing to an offense, which is you now have a legitimate number 1 receiver for the first time since how long? If you're not counting Rob Gronkowski, we're talking about Randy Moss. You finally landed that guy. And so, what?
I don't disagree, but are we even talking about that? I thought we were talking about whether or not it was a win for Vrabel. I mean, I'm just not ready to declare it a win for Vrabel. It's not like he won the trade.
I don't know how you can say that, or what. So he still has a first-round pick in 2028 and no first-round and no number 1 wide receiver. How would that be a win for Vrabel?
Listen, I'm saying, how is it a win for Vrabel today on day 1? The only way it's a win for me is that he has power within the organization.
That's it, period.
I mean, the move hasn't worked out yet.
There's people that question.
You make it sound like I'm against the move. I love the move and think they should have given up the pick. I'm in favor of it. We all agree on that point. That's not the point I'm talking about. Zoe said, this is a big win for Vrabel.
Personally,
I got to be honest with you. I think any head coach in the league that would has the power to offer a first-round pick for a player who a lot of teams are not giving up a first-round pick for, that's kind of easy. I don't think that's all that hard to accomplish. So I think the only thing it proves about him is that he's still got power within the organization to tell people we're doing this. We're giving up a first-round pick, and we're getting a receiver who makes a lot of money. That's it. That's the only win I'm willing to give him right now.
Yeah, but there's people that question. There's talking heads across the country, whether locally or around the country, talking about the game, and he could potentially – not lose power, but lose a little bit of a grip on the team because of what went on in the offseason.
Well, he skipped day 3 of the draft, so that's a reasonable thing to bring up.
Right, but this is good for him. He's got the clout to do it. Sort of rewarded for changing the dynamic.
I would just tell you though that if this doesn't go well, he is going to pay a price for that. He will. He will pay a price for that internally. If this doesn't work out. And this is just to say he's got a lot riding on it. I'm not saying it's not working out because I am fully in favor of this thing. We've been talking about it for months. You know exactly how I feel about it and feel about the pick and all of it. But if it doesn't go well, there are going to be people there that say, well, we're not letting you decide these things anymore. That's just how things go.
So, look, your concerns are...
You know what they're going to say? They're going to say, Mike, this was your guy, and you fell in love with another one of your guys, and instead of us looking across the entire landscape of the league, and as I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, if you're looking to give up 1 first-round pick, you better make all the possible phone calls and maybe explore bigger deals in which you give up 2 for someone who's better and younger and more in their prime. You should explore that. Fully investigate the landscape. Do I think that happened? No. So what I think happens here is Mike Vrabel locks in on his guy, A.J. Brown, who he loves. They get the guy, and if it doesn't work out, there's going to be 5 people in that building. I'm just throwing a number out there that say, well, next time we're not listening to him. You know what? He's not technically in charge of the roster. We'll handle it from here on out. We'll be the ones doing the trades, and we're not just going to get Mike Vrabel guys.
And this way rolls in coaching too. We covered the greatest coach of all time, who was here for over 20 years, who sort of lost that stroke at the end and paid for it. Lost his job because he couldn't draft, couldn't pick the right guys, picked the wrong offensive coordinator, killed the quarterback, drafted a quarterback in the first round, and just what's hot That's the price you pay when it
out of last year's first free agent class, that is, who was the biggest Vrabel guy in the group?
I mean, they all were, right?
Harold Landry.
Landry and Spillane.
Okay. Well, Landry had played for him, and that was his guy.
Yes.
Did that one work out?
Pre-knee injury, yes. Pre-Saints game when his knee got dinged.
We don't factor in knee injuries?
Yes.
If A.J. Brown's knee blows up, we're not factoring that in?
That's a completely different thing than playing through a knee injury that occurs. You're talking about a reoccurring knee issue, a pre-existing knee condition versus Harold Landry getting injured in a game.
But
Those
Harold Landry
two different things.
Is also, was 28 going on 29, was he not?
Yes.
All right, so these are the risks that you have in some of those players. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
I just think when you talk about the risks that he's assuming, I don't disagree that if he's on the sideline reading a book, disengaged, and talking about Drake May post-game in a way that you look at and go, what are we doing here? Versus a knee issue, I think those are two different things that you're going to look at when we talk about second-guessing the move. If it blows up and it looks like Mike Vrabel has no control over this wide receiver, people are going to second-guess that, yes. If the knee issue crops up halfway through this season, I don't know if you're going to get the same. I don't know if you're going to get the same second guess.
Get ready for veteran rest days. Like Morgan Moses just doesn't play in the preseason. Like he rewards the veterans that apply themselves and are at a certain age that need that type of rest for a grueling 17, 18 game season. Like he will have days off at the end of the year. Brady did at the end. That's what they do. The Thursday day off. Landry was getting them, trying to get him right. Throw Hunter Henry a bone here or there. And I think that's where Mike sort of understands that good dynamic between coach and player and how's your body feel at that time. Because he played at such a high level and won, but knew how his body felt at the end of the year.
I would just add that Harold Landry's right knee is the surgically repaired one that he had repaired in 2022.
Yeah, but it's not like he was just walking across the field and it went out. He got hit in the knee.
I'm just saying.
That's two different things.
That's all I'm saying.
If you have an injury, if A.J. Brown's going over the middle and gets taken out by T.J. Ward like Gronk did, you don't go, I told you that knee was going to go. No, he got smoked in the knee during a game. Those are two different things.
That's funny. We were out in Denver, and that's when Rossini had to report before the end of the fourth quarter that it was not taken out, that it was actually just a bruise.
Oh, that's interesting. How did she get that report?
Vrabel wasn't here.
Anyway.
Don't you think it's a win for Vrabel that I'm sorry, this player wanted to play for Mike Vrabel?
Well, that's different. That's different. I think that is I think that's to me like a win for the organization.
Helps the locker room, yep, and the organization.
Because if they were
a destination.
Like he wants to play for Vrabel. Simply because it's Vrabel? If Vrabel was coaching a team that had 6 or 7 wins last year, he's eager to go play for Vrabel again?
Nice, he's a quarterback.
No, he's eager to go play with a quarterback in a team that's good.
Right, but that's also because of Mike Vrabel.
Oh,
right?
I agree.
Yeah.
No, so Mike Vrabel hasn't been given enough credit for how good the Patriots were last year?
No, but I'm saying you can't just wipe that away. You can't just wipe that away, too.
I'm not. But it's not just because he's Mike Vrabel.
No, Drake May's an awesome quarterback.
It's because he's done a good job, and Josh McDaniels has developed Drake May in this offense to what it's become. If the offense was garbage, or if we're Ryan Tannehill playing quarterback here, he doesn't give a damn about playing for the Patriots. So it's all of those things.
True.
It's all of those things.
But Coach, you got a little piss and vinegar in you today. You got 3.5 hours of that left?
Yes.
Holy cow. Shot out of a cannon.
Phil Perry talking about the A.J. Brown trade. He is calling it an overpay for A.J. Brown. The cost of acquiring A.J. Brown. It's really the only thing that's to debate about it, because I think everybody wants the talent. Everybody should want the talent. Who would tell you he's not talented? He's super talented. That's why I would want him here. We can get to that coming up next. Stick around.
Zoe and Beetle are back with more on the Sports Hub.
I just think it's an overpay. I think it's too much. And I've said that for months. Since we've started talking about this, probably years. No, you know what? It's not been years, because I can tell you when my opinion in terms of what the going rate for A.J. Brown should be changed. And it was when we heard from our friend Albert Breer, this again was months ago, that he had a degenerative knee condition. I was a huge fan of A.J. Brown. Again, for all the reasons I just mentioned, the fit, the position, the style, the play, the quarterback. You're talking about a 29-year-old receiver who has a bad knee.
Okay.
And that, to me, when you're talking about giving up first-round picks, I'm not saying it's unreasonable, especially given what we've seen other receivers go for. It's too much for me, given where the Patriots, I think, are in their overall championship aspirational arc.
Oh, massive shock that a draft guy thinks the first-round pick is too much. Phil's working on his mock for 2028 right now, so of course he believes it's too much because of their arc.
Championship
because
arc.
Of where they're going. So that's a strong believer in you need to build through the draft. You need to build with the first-round picks. You've got to go through with cost-controlled, talented players, and on and on and on. How cost-controlled is Christian Gonzalez right now? I'd like to ask those draft people. How cost-controlled is he? Because the last time I checked, he's going into year 3, and he's not showing up for practice right now because he needs a new contract because they hit on the first rounder. So are the first-round picks really super cost-controlled or not? Or is it for a couple of years before you have to break the bank for the good ones?
Not the uber talented ones.
Okay.
The ones you really hit on.
Okay.
A quarter piece of your organization, corner, quarterback, receiver, pass rusher. Those guys are special, and you have to pay them. Championship arc. I traveled and called games for 2 of the worst back-to-back 4-win seasons that we've ever had around here. Those years were bad.
Well, I would say those years are far less relevant than the one they just had because on the arc, they just sped the process up in a massive way. They were just in the Super Bowl.
They're telling you we're here and we belong here.
They went from...
So that wasn't fake. They don't look at that as like that was a fake fantasy type run. Everything broke their way, no question. But they're saying, wow, we got a taste of it. Let's get better. Let's get better.
Well, you don't go to the Super Bowl and then say, you know what, it's just okay to be a playoff team this year. I mean, that's the floor.
Right, remember who we are.
But that's not okay. If they get back to the playoffs and lose in their first game that they played, that's not okay.
No, it's not.
So I think that they've accelerated that arc, and they've got to respond accordingly. And I think a move like this tells you that they have responded accordingly.
You've raised the bar, yes. Yep, your expectations have changed now. You're a contender now. Moves like this make you a contender. You got to get Gonzalez done, though. Can't let that thing fester.
Pat and Franklin. Hey, Pat.
Pat.
Zo.
What's up?
Here's another thing that happened to me at 5 a.m. This Asia song, Heat of the Moment, came up. I can't turn it off. Can you turn off Heat of the Moment from Asia?
Yeah. I like Only Time Will Tell by them. I think that's my favorite Asia song.
All right.
Heat of the Moment's pretty good. It's a banger.
Back to the sports.
Yeah. Well, Beetle had a good banger yesterday. Phil Collins. Yeah. But go ahead.
It's better than Asia. I mean, come on. Next.
Please.
Come on.
DJ Moore or A.J. Brown? Who do you want?
A.J. Brown.
You guys are wrong.
Great. I can't wait till the Patriots beat the Bills twice now with A.J. Brown. They beat you right over your head this year with A.J. Brown. I can't wait for that. DJ, you want to talk about problems. DJ Moore, he produces. He puts up numbers.
I think they panicked.
But like that...
He walked off the field at one point.
That's the one that also could blow up in your face. The same way A.J. Brown could. But
I feel they panicked there. But I think they had to get ahead of it. You know, their year ended badly. They should have beat freaking Denver out there. And it didn't happen. So it was one of the first moves they made. They went early on Moore. What did they give up? Second round pick?
Second round pick. He's a better value. I'm not going to debate you on
different
that.
receiver too, though. Completely different receiver. I always talk about the huddle. Like, okay, look at the huddle when you line up. And that was a frustrating part of the last couple of years. You know, and this is like, we're talking post-Gronkowski, post-Amendola, element in the huddle type, you know, Martellus Bennett, Brady, James White. Now you got a little bit of an offensive huddle. When Drake takes the knee, gets in there to call a play. You got A.J. Brown in there. You got Hunter Henry in there.
Dobbs.
You got Dobbs in there. Probably have Mac Hollins in there. What are we going to do with Booty? Is he on the way out? Or is Pop on the way out? And you get Henderson in there. Like, that's your third down package. And you got some new linemen. You got better on offense. I think you got better on defense. But now, you're creating things, and this is where Josh is going to get really good with this. Defensive coordinators now need to find out where's number 11. Now you're setting coverage. This is what you used to do with Gronk. We'll flex him out, run the guy over there. Okay, now we know what coverage they're in. Like, you didn't have that type of guy. And Diggs was kind of it, but, well, we could cover Diggs man-to-man. He's really tough against zone. Like, Diggs is great against zone. But not a great man beater. He won a couple times versus man when he had to, like fourth down in Baltimore. Made the catch, tough catch. But now you got guys getting a huddle with when they show that camera, the high-rise and cable cam when it gets right down there and right inside that offensive huddle. Like, oh, okay, we got an offensive huddle now. That's exciting. It's exciting for me, former quarterback. Like, I'm what guys I want to throw to. That's why I asked the question. Like, if you keep forcing the Kyle Williams thing with, versus Booty, like which one stays and which one goes, I know that they're gonna give Kyle the nod because he's a pick they made. Booty's kind of like, he looks like,
another really excellent pick they made at receiver.
And that's what hurts you. See, that's what hurts you though. Like, because
that's why they're in this spot.
If I'm Drake May and it's 3rd and 7, I always ask this: who do you want in the huddle, Booty or Kyle Williams? It's Booty. 3rd and 6, it's Booty. 3rd and 12, Booty. Because you know why? Because he's going to catch it. He's going to compete for the ball. He's going to line up in the right spot. He's going to run the right route.
3rd round pick on Kyle Williams a year after they drafted Polk with the 37th overall pick and Baker with the 110th overall pick.
How's Baker doing?
Do you want to know why they're out there forcing themselves to drop first-round picks on A.J. Brown? That's why. That's why. 3 receivers in the last 2 drafts over the last couple of years, and none of them have produced for the team in a meaningful way. And 2 of them aren't even here anymore. 2 of them are gone after 1 season. That's why they're in this spot of having to do this. If you just hit on a receiver, you may not have to do this. But they're incapable. Can't do it. And until they fix that problem, they're going to have to keep doing things like this. You mentioned Sanu earlier. 2nd round pick for Sanu.
Let's put him on punt return. He's never returned a punt.
But why were they in that spot? Because they couldn't draft and develop a receiver.
Yep. Because you drafted to kill Harry and he fell.
Yep.
Quarterback knew it after 30 minutes. Well, this ain't going to be good.
DJ Moore. I mean, couldn't have been more heroic for that Bears team at the end of the regular season and in the playoffs. And they were ready to dump him for a 2nd round pick. Doesn't that tell you something's up there? Mm-hmm. That tell you that's a guy you don't exactly want to have around.
With an offensive-minded head coach.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we do not want this guy here.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it on A.J. Brown. 617-779-0985. CBS Sports has the Patriots losing the A.J. Brown deal. Some of the reviews are in on the deal. And again, I think when you say they've lost the deal already because of what they gave up, I mean, it's fair to talk about the risk and how risky it is. But this team's not living in a vacuum. They're not grading it out in a vacuum. They have a real need, and they went out and they addressed the need. We could talk more about it. Mike Vrabel will speak live at 11:30 today, and when he does, we'll carry it live. Go nowhere.
While you're working, so are they. If you can call sitting around talking about sports work.
Okay, so what are we talking about here?
Zolak and Bertrand, the Sports Hub.
For Philadelphia, I give it an A because you were able to wait and give yourself all the financial flexibility that you possibly could in this trade. Really didn't lose any value. Sure, you'd love to get multiple first-round picks and all that stuff for any sort of player, but you were still able to get a first-round pick, and you could wait until June 1 for a team like the New England Patriots. I think that is a win for Howie Roseman. That deserves an A, especially at this stage of the offseason. For New England, I give them a B+ here because, again, I do think that this is a necessary step for the development of Drake May. They are ultra familiar with this player because of that relationship with Mike Vrabel. I think that he fits perfectly into this offense as a true number 1. It will help the Patriots as they look to defend their AFC East title, to get back in the AFC Championship and potentially the Super Bowl in albeit a tougher schedule. I just kind of wonder, who were they negotiating against? What made them feel like they had to go first round or bust at this point for A.J. Brown? Could they have gotten it done with a 2, and what would have that looked like?
A lot of people say the Patriots have overpaid for A.J. Brown. But I think the thing that is not really being debated is whether or not A.J. Brown will make the Patriots offense better. Because it does. It does make them better. 617-779-0985.
I say something real quick, too. You're entering interesting territory where kind of you've never been before because you had the greatest quarterback ever that was paid probably beneath what he should have been, and he covered up a lot of your problems on the perimeter. He didn't have the $35, $33 million receiver. Next year, you're going to have to make that decision of what type of money are you going to pay this quarterback. And it's going to break records. And then it's going to be, how do you keep the people around him? Like, look at Cincinnati, what they pay Burrow. Look at the two receivers that they have. Look what they pay them. Look what Dallas does. When you have elite guys like that, you kind of got to saddle up and suck it up and pay them. That's the new league. That's what it is. You were the anti of that for so many years. This is new territory for them. It is. So people can sit here and complain and bitch and say it's an overpayment and you're paying it too much, but it's kind of how this league works now. San Francisco, paying that quarterback, paying that tight end. Look at Buffalo. Buffalo's got some issues right now because they had to go out and sort of throw to it DJ Moore and see if he could stick there because they need to get that guy help. You're only as good as the people around you. Look at Diggs. Look what Diggs did for you a year ago. That type of player. We're just so excited to get Stephon Diggs on the back end of his career because we didn't have that. We didn't even have anything near that. That's why this is exciting. It is. Yeah. Howie flipped him for a 1 and a 3. I mean, a 1 and a 5, and he got him for a 1 and a 3. Like, that's crazy. That's good value for them. And 4 great years for him with 2 Super Bowls. 1, but he went to 2, right? 2 or 3? How many Super Bowls did he go to?
He went to 2, right?
2. What? Yeah. No, Arizona. Yeah, and then they beat the hell out of him last year. Yeah. Last time they faced the Chiefs. Yeah.
Michael is in Natick today. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, fellas. So I wouldn't call this a win by any means. I think it's a necessity. Going back to 2019, sins of the father, Belichick taking N'Keal Harry in the same draft as A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf. Eventually, you're just going to have to overpay and make this type of move because you just have shown the incapability to draft any receivers in the previous years.
It's crazy. You had those guys in for 30s. Remember when Deebo was here and they thought, I'm not leaving. I'm coming back here. They're going to draft me. No, they took Harry.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that he brings up issues from the time with Bill Belichick because in theory, had N'Keal Harry been a good player taken at that spot,
just even decent,
good player may still be here. You ever think of that? Yeah.
So, something tells me if he was a stud wide receiver, some combination of Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi would have gotten under his skin and he would have forced his way out of here at this point.
Yep.
I don't know if he was actually a good player. He probably would have bailed.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Cam Newton throwing darts at his ankles.
It's an excellent point to bring up that N'Keal Harry was drafted 32nd overall. The next receiver taken was at 36 overall was Deebo. At 51 overall was A.J. Brown. Jesus. At 56 overall was McCole Hardman. DK Metcalf was taken 64th overall. Terry McLaurin was taken 76th overall. That was all in that draft. And so they're in this spot because they could have had one of these guys. They could have drafted A.J. Brown if they wanted him, but no. Bill Belichick wanted N'Keal Harry at 32nd overall.
Right?
And how stupid was that?
Herm Edwards. Yep.
So his stupid drafting from 7 years ago is still a problem.
How about the fact that Tyquan Thornton lasted longer here than N'Keal Harry did? And I'll never forget that route he ran here at a home game right in front of the Patriots bench. It was about a 13 or 14-yard comeback. And he barely came out of his break. And the ball sailed over his head and almost hit somebody on the sideline, killed a doctor almost. And I don't think he saw the field ever again after that here.
I like the way you put that, though. This isn't a win. It's a necessity.
He's right.
Yeah, don't get too excited about the win that it is on the deal. You didn't win the trade. You didn't pay a good price. You didn't get a good value or anything.
They're doing it. Like, to your point, they're doing it.
I agree. I mean, I think it's aggressive. I think it's risky, but I think it's all worth doing.
Because they've had necessities before, and they've never pulled the trigger. Now we do what we do. This is different. We're not used to this.
They've been forced into this position because of their own issues. That's what it is. Steve's in Miami. Like Kayshon Boutte. Hi, Steve.
Yes. Hi, how are you guys doing today? Question. Would you be looking, apparently Boutte's going to be the odd man out, it seems.
I don't know that.
I'm thinking, Well, I mean, you're overstaffed with wide receivers. You have basically 6 or 7 that are going to be vying, and I'm not talking about the 2 that were on development contracts last year. But everybody's clamoring that Booty's going to be traded. I want to get your opinion. I would sort of wait until training camp because injuries happen not just to the Patriots but other teams. And if there's an injury to a Patriot receiver, all of a sudden Booty becomes important. B, if there's an injury to another receiver from another team, maybe you can get a little bit more. I want to get your opinion on that.
Okay, why don't we pick that up on the other side and take a look at the Patriots depth chart at receiver. Mike Trabel is going to speak at 11:30. We'll carry that live. We'll talk about how the wide receiver room looks now right after this.